So she's my little audience today. So guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking to you guys about how, when, and why I stopped breastfeeding. So, what a journey that was. LOL, right, boo-boo? Yes. I had my daughter in September. Before I had my daughter, I was super strong on breastfeeding. I said no formula whatsoever. Formula is evil and the devil, and I hate it, and I don't want that. The reason why I had this mentality is because everywhere that you read mommy blogs, if you go on Google, if you go on Pinterest, if you go on anywhere in the world, or if you even ask your mommy friends, they will tell you breastfeeding is the best and only way to feed your baby. Arguably. I'm not here to absolutely influence anybody. I respect women that breastfeed all the way through. I respect women that don't breastfeed. I respect women that do a combination feed. But everybody is doing the best that they can and what they can with what they're given. I'm telling my story, my experience, my thoughts. I have friends that have breastfed their baby up to a year, up to 2 years, up to 4 years. I know moms that have only formula fed or whatever it is, but I feel like there's a lot of judgment in the parent world, and there's been a lot of women DMing me lately on why I stopped breastfeeding, or what I feed my baby now, or how's my baby doing outside of breastfeeding compared to when she was breastfed. And I just kind of want to be able to try to make a difference in these moms' lives in any way that I can. Like I said, I had Luna in September, and when I had her, I was very strong on only breastfeeding. So I was very much against formula feeding. However, as soon as she came out, they latched her onto me, and her latch was perfect. Everything was running smoothly. My colostrum came in. It was great. Like 3 days later, 4 days later was when my milk actually started running in. And I understand that if you don't use it, you lose it. However, her first day, we were waiting for a wet diaper. The nurse came in like after, I think it was like 24 hours. The nurse came in and said, hey, like your baby hasn't peed yet, and we really want to make sure that everything's functioning correctly. So we're gonna feed her, we want to feed her this 2-ounce bottle of formula, and just to see, you know, how everything goes. Boo! You want to be on camera with mama? Do you want to be on camera with mama? We want to see that. Alright, here, come on. Come on. Okay, and mommy's gonna record. Okay? Alright. So they wanted her to pee, obviously, and we wanted to make sure that everything was functioning correctly. So I said yes, and I was fine, although I had a little bit of anxiety just knowing that, like, I was very strong on, like, not formula feeding her ever and just breastfeeding her, but I knew that I just wanted to make sure that everything was fine. So they fed her that, she peed, everything went great. In the next, like, I guess 2 days, she just wasn't urinating as often as I guess a normal baby would. I have no idea, whatever. The hospital was just like giving me a lot of anxiety about it. So they said, okay, like, you know, I think that you should formula feed her once a day for 2 weeks just to make sure everything is flowing correctly. And then they asked me, have you ever had surgery on your breast? Now, when I was 19, I did have a breast reduction, and I had no idea that that was ever going to affect my milk flow. It wasn't so much maybe that I wasn't producing enough. It was just probably my pores were clogged, or I don't even know what it was. I wasn't really educated on that. So the nurse, you know, just informed me, like, this might be why there's such a slowdown, and, you know, but like, you know, you should pump a lot, and you should pump a lot and just go forward from there. I didn't want to just like stop it there and be like, okay, whatever, let's just formula feed, because I was very strong on breastfeeding. So as the days went on, you know, that's when my milk started coming in. I would pump every single time I would feed her, and I would notice that she was always very she needed more and more and more, and she would never stop feeding. So I mentioned in my birth video that 2 weeks into it, my mood just kind of plummeted, and I sunk into like a really dark place, I guess you could say, and that was when things just got a little bit more difficult for me. As far as breastfeeding goes, I was always very anxious that I wasn't feeding her enough. I gave her formula, 1 bottle a day of 2 ounces every day for the first month at nighttime, but otherwise I would just breastfeed her, but I felt like I lived in that chair, like just breastfeeding her and pumping her. That was my life, and I live a pretty social, active life as far as like family goes and everything. I'm always around people, so for me it was very difficult to just like dive into just mom stuff and breastfeeding, and that was it. I felt like my flow wasn't enough. When I would pump, even when my breast felt really full, I would pump only maybe 1 ounce or maybe ½ ounce. Sometimes on a good day it would be 2 ounces, but it would just literally be that. It never moved, no matter how many times I pumped and no matter how much milk felt like it was in my boobs. After about week 6 was when my milk started really coming in and flowing. However, I still was feeling like anxious and I wasn't happy. I felt like everybody around me was saying to only breastfeed and that breastfeeding was the best way, and if you formula feed your baby will get sick all the time, and all these like different opinions, and I felt anxious. I just felt like, God, like if I stop breastfeeding, my baby's gonna hate me. My baby's not gonna be fed enough. My baby is not gonna develop enough. I just had this like all these wrong ideas on formula feeding. It got to a point, the amount of milk my breast was producing was never enough to really like quiet her down, make her go to sleep, to never really feel like I fully satisfied her. So I started implementing 2 bottles a day for the 2nd month. Again, I kind of just it was really hard for me to accept until that 2nd month that I was combination feeding her. But I said, you know what, I'm doing the best that I can with breastfeeding. I'm doing what I can do and what my body is letting me do. So I just took it as, you know what, my baby is fed and I'm fine, and she's happy and she's developing great. She's growing, she's getting fat, like, and that's what my goal was. That's what anybody's goal would be, is for their baby to be fed. But again, I would always hear what society thought. I would always hear different opinions on it, and you know, I had so many people say, why are you bottle feeding her? Like, is this your breast milk? It better be your breast milk. I hope it's your breast milk. And just different things like that. You know, my mom would try to comfort me, telling me, you know, whenever you want to stop, just stop. But I wanted to keep going. I had this like, I envisioned something so different in my head, and I couldn't let that vision go. So finally, in the 3rd month, I went back to work, and that's when I started kind of accepting the fact that, you know what, the best that I could do for my baby is not let my mind control me. I was depressed. I wasn't happy. My baby wasn't happy because she had a depressed mom, and my baby wasn't happy because she wasn't getting enough from me. And that was just the fact. I wasn't producing enough no matter how much I tried. People would tell me crazy things. I took lactation cookies. I would drink beer. I, you know, would pump 1,000,000 times a day for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like every pump. I would do everything everybody would ask me to do or tell me to do. And I felt like it was not enough. It just, my body just wasn't producing what it needed to. So finally, I just kind of accepted that, you know what, this was just not in the cards, then that's totally fine. So I started only breastfeeding in the early mornings and late at night. And it was very easy for me to wean her off just because she was so used to bottle feeding from day 1. So that was pretty easy for me to just kind of transition. However, my body, you know, from going to breastfeeding and pumping so much to not doing it at all, my body just kind of like went shock mode, and I don't know if I got mastitis, whatever it is, mastitis. I don't know if I got that. It's just like a infection almost that, you know, causes fevers and all that stuff. I had a fever for about 2 days when I slowed down my feedings. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna pump, like when I got to work, I'm gonna pump twice a day and breastfeed in the mornings and, like I said, at night. So I was doing that, and I was still so freaking depressed. I didn't know if my baby was getting enough because she was always screaming for more. And she would only quiet down and only feel like I felt like she was only satisfied when she was bottle fed with formula. So finally in January I decided, you know what, this is it, no more. So I started just pumping then once a day and stopped feeding her in the mornings and at night. I think I would just pump like in the morning, like early in the morning before work, and then whatever I would pump out, I just put it in a bottle. Like literally it would take me 4 days to get a 4-ounce bottle. Like it was so anxiety ridden for me, and I didn't feel good about it. But I feel like I didn't feel good because of what will people think, or what if my baby does get sick all the time? What if my baby won't develop as great, or whatever it is? I had to let all of that go. That was fear. That was all fear, and it was not the truth, because when I let breastfeeding go, as much as I miss her on my chest sometimes, I know she is so happy she is fed, and I am happy. Like, it took 3 weeks for my milk to dry. Like I said, I just kind of slowed down production as time went on. At one point, 3 weeks in, my milk was just completely dry. I would like, I would milk myself in the shower whenever like it was like hot shower. I would just like milk myself. I don't know how else to say it. And just so then that way the milk wouldn't stay staggered in there, like stuck in there. So I just like always float it, you know, whatever. And then 3 weeks into it, I also got my period. So once my milk dried, my period came, and I felt so alleviated. I felt like there was like a lift off my shoulders. Uh-oh. I felt like there was a lift off my shoulders. My daughter was being fed. She was happy. It was easy for me. I didn't have to stop at every second to go and pump, stop at every second to breastfeed. I feel like she felt good and I felt good, and everything just kind of came together that way. I know people, like I said, that have breastfed for more than a year. It's okay. Yay! I love you. I love you. I know people that have breastfed their kids, like I said, for years, and I completely respect that. But I also completely respect that women sometimes don't even freaking want to breastfeed. Some women can't breastfeed. Some women find it a lot easier for their lifestyle to not breastfeed and just formula feed. And you know, like if you do your research, you will see that formula is made for children to develop and to get the nutrients that they need. Sure, is breast milk amazing and free? Yeah, it is. If I was to get a cold and Luna was breastfeeding off of me, she wouldn't get that cold because my body automatically makes antibodies to help her not get sick. But does that mean that all breastfed babies don't get sick? Absolutely not. I know so many breastfed babies that do get sick, right? Right, girl? Your daycare, they're always sick. I feel like I was carrying so much guilt and anxiety for way too long. For 3 entire months, I was just always like, ow, girl! You just bit your mama? Did you just bite your mama, girl? That is not funny. I love you. So I just wanted to come on in here and just help whoever needs to hear this. Formula fed or breastfed, we are all moms. We're all trying our best. We are trying to give our kids our best, and there is no wrong way in doing this. Unless you're not feeding your baby at all, then that's the only freaking way that you can mess this up. Otherwise, we're doing the best that we can, and there should be no opinions thrown or judgments thrown at any mom whatsoever. I still till this day couldn't believe how many people would literally tell me, you should be breastfeeding. Why aren't you breastfeeding? This is the best way to feed your kids, and just keep going, just keep going. You're not living my life. Like, you're not feeling what I am feeling. Your kid is not feeling what my kid is feeling. It's a little unfair when moms have to hear these kind of things and feel guilty about it. I felt guilty and anxious for way too long, and now it's been 3 months since she's been formula fed completely, and she is perfect. She is amazing. She's developing so well, and she's happy, and she's a fatty, and she's fine. So to my mamas out there that are breastfeeding, you're doing amazing. To the mamas out there that are combination feeding, you are doing amazing. And to the mamas out there that are formula feeding, you are doing amazing. Good job. I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a beat. And remember to take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Because if we are not happy, our babies feed off of that, and we just need to do what's best for us, what's best for our babies. And if that means stopping doing whatever society is telling you to do and doing what you feel is right, then that is the best thing that you can do. Right? Give me 5. Woo! I love you guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Peace! Say peace. Bye! Say bye. Say bye, girl. Girl, don't be rude. Say bye. And mwah, and mwah, and mwah.